Hi everyone, today I'm going to be talking about times that the Simpsons predicted the future. If my camera is a bit wonky, I got a new tripod, so I'm trying to figure out how it works, so yeah. But before we start, let's talk about what the Simpsons are, in case you've never watched them or heard of them before. So, The Simpsons is an American animated TV series that revolves around the lives of the Simpsons family: Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa and Miley, and the residents of the fictional town of Springfield, which they live in. The Simpsons is known as the longest running American TV series ever. So now that's out the way, let's begin. So the first time the Simpsons predicted the future was in Season 4, Episode 21, Marge and Chains. They predicted COVID-19 coronavirus, as the plot of the episode takes off in Japan, where a sick factory worker coughs into a box and it travels over to Springfield, and the Simpsons family gets the disease and it spreads all through the world and Springfield, and people saying they predicted COVID-19 as this episode was created and aired way before COVID spread it around the world as we know in 2020. And yeah, the next time people say the Simpsons predicted the future was in Season 5, Episode 19, Sweet Seymour Stinner. The episode's based on the lunch lady at Springfield Elementary School named Doris. She was caught putting horse meat in the school's food, and in 2013 health officials discovered that several beef products contained horse meat. So yeah, that's another time Simpsons kind of predicted the future. Not kind of, but did predict the future. All these episodes were created and aired before the actual event happened. So that's why people's kind of shocked and saying that they predicted the future. The next time they predicted the future was in Season 17, Episode 10, Homer Partene Coot. I think that's how it's spelled. In this episode, they predicted the underwater submersible that went down to visit the Titanic, the one that imploded and unfortunately killed all the people inside. They predicted in this episode that Homer believes a man named Mason Fairbanks, who is a biologist. He went underwater in a submersible as what the one unfortunately imploded was, to visit a sunken boat named Paiso Mojado. I think that's how it's pronounced. But Homer gets stuck in the coral and his oxygen levels keeps dipping, and he loses consciousness and wakes up 3 days later in a hospital. And in June 2023, the real life submersible Titan, I think it's called, unfortunately it didn't just lose oxygen, but unfortunately it actually imploded and unfortunately killed everybody inside of it. So it wasn't the same as this episode, but it's kind of based on what happened. And before, and like I said before, all these episodes were created and aired way before the actual event happened. So the next time Simpsons predicted the future was in season 20, episode 4, Treehouse of Terror. The Simpsons predicted the faulty voting machines that was linked to the 2008 voting machines, where they changed the vote from John McClane to Barack Obama, and that's kind of what happened in this episode. So it starts off that it's election day in Springfield, and Homer goes to a booth to attempt to vote for Barack Obama, only for the machine to count this is based on actually the Barack Obama Mitt Romney voting machine from 2008. So from actually the person that in the series votes for is John McClane. So I read that wrong, sorry. But like I said, voting machines voted for John McClane instead of Barack Obama in this episode. And then, like I said, that happened years later in real life, where it changed the voting from Mitt Romney to Barack Obama, as in Pennsylvania, and it happened in a voting booth. So yeah, at the end they predicted faulty voting booth. The next time the Simpsons predicted the future was in season 6, episode 19, Lisa's Wedding. This episode predicted the Shard, the big tall building in London. So in this episode, as we can tell, it's Lisa's wedding, and there's a scene that features the Big Ben, and that near it was the Shard, so a pan front view over London. That must have been where Lisa's wedding must have been. I haven't watched these episodes, so I don't know. But this was, like I said, created way before the Shard was built, as the Shard was completed in 2012. But in this scene, there's a building exact same as the Shard is in real life. Maybe the builders and whoever created the show based on this episode, so they liked the design. I don't know, but they're also saying because this episode set in London, and it'll be a skyline of London, and where the shard is today is in this episode, just that same. So that's what people saying. This is just that same, like, as it is now, because they predicted the future. So, I don't know. The next time the Simpsons predicted the future was in season 23, episode 22, Lisa Does Dada. This episode predicted Lady Dada's Super Bowl performance. So in this episode, Lady Dada visits Springfield, because Lisa's self-esteem was down, and somehow Lady Dada knew that Lisa was feeling down, so she travelled to Springfield to try to cheer her up. And people noticed that the performance Lady Dada done in the show and the outfit she wore is that same as how she was in her 2017 show, I believe. I think Lady Dada voiced herself in The Simpsons, so she probably just retook the idea of her outfit in the show and made it happen in real life. So that's kind of what happened here. But people saying, because this is, like I said, created way before this show happened in real life. They predicted the future, but probably because Lady Dada voiced herself and she took the idea from the show. So the next time the Simpsons predicted the future was in season 3, episode 14, Lisa the Deek. They predicted the correct store for the Super Bowl. So in this episode, the episode starts off like the Super Bowl in Springfield, I think, and it predicted that same store as the Dallas Cowboys has won back in the Super Bowl. I'm not sure when this Super Bowl was. Doesn't say what I'm trying to read here. But apparently they predicted Dallas Cowboys store, and apparently they won whatever Super Bowl this was, so I'm not completely sure about what this one's about, because it's kind of like messed up the thing I'm trying to read here, so that's why I'm having trouble here trying to read this one. Yeah, so from what I'm reading here, some team, I don't know which one here, won Super Bowl and it matched up the Dallas Cowboys or something. So I don't really know what this one's about. So yeah, apparently they predicted some store. I don't know. So let's move on. The next one was in season 6, episode 19, Lisa's Wedding Again, they predicted smartwatches. So this show kind of jokes on what future technology would be like. And Lisa's boyfriend, who calls her on a smartwatch, and in 2013 they were created that same as it is shown in the show. So yeah, that's kind of us. This episode's kind of predicted smartwatches. So yeah, next one is an episode, season 10, episode 5, When You Dish Upon a Star. They predicted Disney buying 20th Century Fox. As in this episode, the 20th Century Fox logo was shown with some sort of Disney related thing with it. And in 2018, the Walt Disney Company sold to Fox, or no, yeah, that's how it happened. And in the show, Homer and Mickey Mouse were in the same house or something. I don't know. Something like that. And yeah, it kind of showed a logo of Fox, Century and Disney with Mickey Mouse and stuff in this episode all together, and apparently that predicted Fox and Disney working together or something like that. I don't know. The next one is in season 2, episode 9, Itchy and Scratchy and Marge. They predicted covering up the Michelangelo David statue. And in 2016, Russian voted on whether or not to cover up the statue with clothes. But in this episode, Marge dates hyper-violent content from the cartoon Itchy and Scratchy, and she wanted to censor everything bad in life or something, and she protested with Springfield to cover up the Michelangelo David statue, because obviously it's nude, and she wanted to censor and everything like inappropriate or something. So yeah, that's how that episode predicted the future, apparently. And season 6, episode 8, Lisa on Ice, they predicted autocorrect. So in this episode, someone was bullying a kid named Martin and was text on his Apple Newton beat up Martin, but it auto-corrected to eat up Martha. Or something like that. And then later on, actually later that year, Apple was working on the iPhone keyboard, and basically Apple like corrected it and created the auto-correct feature after watching, or after the episode was released. So I don't know, something like that. So yeah. The next episode, what they predicted something, was in season 2, episode 4, 2 cars in every garage and 3-eyed fish on every fish. In this episode, they predicted finding a 3-eyed fish. So this episode is based on Blinty, the episode's famous 3-eyed fish. Was found near the nuclear plant, and in 2011, when a fisherman caught a 3-eyed fish near a nuclear plant in Argentina. So that's the time with the episode predicted a fisherman finding a 3-eyed fish near a nuclear plant. The next time they predicted something was in season 3, episode 24. Brother, can you spare 2 dimes? They predicted baby translator. In this episode, an app was created by Homer's solemn half-brother Herb, who is voiced by Danny DeVito. He created an invention that translated gibberish from a baby into full sentences. And then later that year, an app was created called the Cry Translator app, which would turn baby cries into translated words. So people say in this episode predicted baby translator. So yeah. The next time they predicted something was in season 6, episode 19, Lisa's Wedding. They predicted a video chat. In this episode, where was it? There was someone who was video chatting on a string. And then later on, video chatting sites were created, such as Zoom, Skype, Doodle Hangout, and FaceTime. And people were saying Simpsons predicted video chatting. So yeah. The next time they predicted the future was in season 11, episode 17, Bart to the Future. They predicted Donald Trump's being president. In this episode, the Simpsons to a peek into the future. Lisa became president of the United States. And there's a scene where Donald Trump attempted to run as a Reform Party candidate, but the words gained much more popularity, and eventually he became president. And as we know, he became president. But also, just reading here, they predicted in this episode that Donald Trump would become president in 2024, and as we know, he was. So that's what people saying they predicted Donald Trump being president. And that's my last one, I think, yeah. So let me know, have you watched any of these episodes, and do you believe that The Simpsons predicted the future? Most of these were probably happened because of the episodes, from people watching them and then creating them, such as Lady Gaga and Ultrat, and probably maybe The Shard. But anyways, let me know, what do you think? Were these predicted by the creators, or were they just created because of the show? Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, I'd appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.